Church, happy Easter, happy Easter, happy Easter. Y'all look, listen, I told this last service, but I really mean it this service. Y'all look extra Easter good. It's freezing out there. It's like 47 degrees, and you're still like, I'm going to put my pastels on, okay? And you guys look good, but more than that, like, aren't you glad to be in church to celebrate that Jesus is alive and the tomb is empty? Is anybody excited about that at all? Like, that is what we're here for. It's so fun to come to church on Easter. It's like going to a football game and you already know your team won. You know what I mean? It's like, for the Super Bowl, like the Eagles, that doesn't work. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm so glad that you guys are here. And has anybody already had at least one piece of candy this morning? Let me see your hands. If you've already had it in the Reese egg counts on your seat. All right, a lot of you got sugar in you. I expect big things today, okay? Big things. But I just want to say real quick, that video of Kristen and Mike, that was so cool, wasn't it? Kristen had to drag Mike here, and now Mike works here. And so, listen, if somebody drug you to church today, you probably work here next Easter, okay? We will bring you on board. Anyway, we know every Sunday is somebody's first Sunday, and especially on Easter. And if that's you, I would love to meet you after the service at the kiosks out there. And if you come out there to me in the lobby, I'm going to give you some Fisher's popcorn as our gift because I feel like you haven't had enough sugar yet, okay? So we're going to add on to that. And a lot of our regulars are not here today. About half of them they're on vacation in Tybee Island, Georgia or something. I don't even know where they are. But I want to give a shout out to a few different people. The Baffords in Fenwick. Hey to Sean and Rick at BB Hospital who are tuning in. Hey to Butch and Amy, a whole crew who's watching us in Utah right now. We got so many people. And so can you guys just get loud for our online family who are tuning in right now? Thank you guys for tuning in. Glad you guys are here. So I wanted to start out with a question. Can we have a little fun starting out? Is it okay if we have fun? If you're new around here, we don't do quiet church. So what that means is like if I ask a question, you're encouraged to talk to me. Or you can, if you don't want to talk, you can like wave your, Easter hanky in the air. Or if you really like what I'm saying, just throw me your Reese egg and I'll take that as a sign, But here's my opening question for you today. If you could have an Easter basket with any candy in it, just one single type of Easter candy, what would you want that basket filled with? All right, talk to me, people. I heard a Reese egg. Keep going. Just peppermint patty. That's not Easter at all, but that's cool. I heard a Swedish fish in there. I heard a lot of different things. I can't distinguish anything. All right, I'll put it this way. All those answers, even the peppermint patty, that was fine. That's good. The only wrong answer to have in your Easter basket is the Cadbury cream egg. Come on, who would put this in? Who's putting this in your basket? Let me see your hands. All right, come to the altar and repent right now. Right now. The only egg that I'm down with is the robin egg. That is the correct egg, and I will be stealing that from my kids' Easter basket tonight, parents. Come on. Do not judge me. That's what we do, parents. But I love Easter. I love the Easter basket situation. And my mom this week brought me my Easter basket from my childhood. This is my 35-year-old. This is a vintage Easter basket, people. My one I would get when I was a little kid. And when I was a kid, my parents would always put 3 of the same things in the Easter basket every single Easter, okay? Never the Cadbury egg because they love me, But one thing that was always in here, the first thing that was always in my Easter basket was a yellow thing of Peeps. Yellow, not blue Peeps, not pink Peeps, okay? And that's because I was born in the 1900s. There was just yellow. So that was always in there. The other thing that was always in here was a hollow, never solid, a hollow chocolate money because we didn't have no money growing up. So you got the hollow one. And this is weird. I'd always eat the candy eyes first. Who did it? Anybody? Yeah, if you know, you know. Like the candy eyes, those are the best. So I'd get Peeps in here. I'd always get the chocolate Easter bunny in here. And the third thing that my mother would always put in my Easter basket, and I would get it before church on Sunday morning, all right? She would put an oversized pair of shorts for me to wear to Easter service. Never fit me. Not one year. I look at them and I'm like, thanks, Mom. Are these for the whole neighborhood to wear? Like, how many people can we get in these? Like, so my mom would always give me these shorts. But anyway, that's what was always in my childhood Easter basket. Now, my kids will never have their childhood Easter basket like I have. Because according to my wife, I took their Easter basket to the Goodwill last year. Now, did I take it to the Goodwill? Maybe. I don't know. But I do think I should be treated as innocent until proven guilty. That's how I think it should go. But there's a story to it. The story is I was cleaning out our attic last year, and that's where my kid's Easter basket was. And that's the last time we saw it. But we always lose stuff in the attic. Have you ever lost something in your attic before? How many of you have lost something in your attic before? See, so it's probably in there somewhere. I remember, if you've been here for Christmas, you've heard me tell the story. A few Christmases ago, probably 6 or 7 Christmases ago, I was setting up our nativity scene at home. And I got everything in the nativity scene set up, and I was getting all the pieces of the nativity scene out of a Christmas decoration box from the attic, okay? And I got it all set up, and I'm standing, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, something's not right. I was missing one piece of the nativity scene. Does anybody know what piece that was?
Baby Jesus.
Baby Jesus. You heard this story. And I was like, where's Jesus? And I could not find baby Jesus. And that year, baby Jesus was not in the nativity scene in our house. And my kids were very little at the time, and they didn't understand. They would be like, where's Jesus? And I was having to get creative. And I was like, he's in our hearts now, kids. He's right in here. And they kept on asking me. I thought about putting like a teddygram where Jesus is supposed to be, you know what I mean? So they quit asking me questions. But we found Jesus in the attic the next year in another box. Jesus was there the whole time, okay? My kids' Easter basket's probably not still in the attic. But I tell you all that because I'm calling this year's Easter message, Where's Jesus? Everybody just say, Where's Jesus?
Where's Jesus?
Now, can I throw you an Easter curveball? Speak to me. Can I throw you an Easter curveball? Is that okay? Okay, you agreed to it, so don't get mad at me. All right, the Easter curveball is I'm not going to tell the traditional Easter story this morning. Now, listen, don't get your Easter pastels in a bunch, all right? I'm still going to tell a story. I want to tell the most famous story that Jesus ever told. And in that story is the Easter story. And we're going to look for where's Jesus in this story. Now, I know we got some Sunday school people in the room, so I'm going to see where the Sunday school people are. And so you can fill in this blank when I say this out loud. The most famous story that Jesus ever told is the story of the blank son. Prodigal son. Some of you thought The Good Son, but that's a movie with Macaulay Culkin. Okay, that's the wrong one. But the most famous story that Jesus ever told is the story of the prodigal son. Who's heard about it? Okay, got some woohoos. So we're going to look at this story and just look for where Jesus is in the story. All right, so Luke chapter 15, starting in verse 11, it starts out this way. To illustrate the point further, pause. What point? Well, the two stories before this and this story have one point, and the point is that lost people matter to God. Everybody say this with me. Lost people matter to God. So that's the point that Jesus is trying to illustrate. So Jesus told them, this crowd, this story. A man had 2 sons. Now, question, and this is not a trick question. This is a layup. How many sons did the father have? 2. Okay, I'm just making sure you're not, in a sugar coma already. It's only 10:45 in the morning. But the man had 2 sons. Now, spoiler alert, the man in this story, the father in this story, represents God. And the 2 sons in this story represent being spiritually lost because the story is about how lost people matter to God. You're paying attention. All right, and so that's the setup. Now, there's 2 sons in this story. We'll put this on the screen. The one son in this story is rebellious and lost, or religious and lost, and the other son is rebellious and lost. Now, I'm going to do a little test, Bay Shore test, to see how many of you are more rebellious and how many of you are more religious. And since this is Bay Shore, I think I know where this is headed. But if you were to go into the Walmart to get one thing of Easter candy, and they only had 2 things to choose from. The first thing they had to choose from was this very traditional, humongous-eared Easter bunny that's hollow. And this was one thing you could choose. Or you could choose an Easter chocolate cross, which I can't imagine eating the cross, but that's just me. How many of you are choosing the bunny? How many of you are choosing the bunny? Well, okay. Rebellious. That's what you all are. How many of you, if you see a wall that has a sign on it that says, do not touch wet paint, how many of you at least think about touching the wall? Come on, lift your hands. Rebellious. And if you didn't raise your hand for either of those questions because you're like, I'm not participating, you are rebellious. That's your sign right there. So in the story, you have the one dad who represents God, and then you have the one religious and lost son, and then you have old wild child who is rebellious and lost. But where's Jesus so far? Well, this is the beginning of the story, so I'm sure we'll run into Jesus. Okay, so next verse says this. The younger son, this is the rebellious and lost one, the one who has to touch the wall that is wet when he sees a sign on it. That son, he told his father, I want my share of your estate, Dad, now before you die. So his father was generous and agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. Now, when Jesus told this part of the story, there's a whole crowd there. The whole crowd just saw this and they're like, everybody do that. That's what they did. And the reason they did that is because just imagine this. This son is like, hey, Dad, how you doing? You have a good weekend? Great. I wish you were dead so you could show me the money. So the wild child just done messed up with that whole question. And then it goes on. It says a few days later, this same younger son packed all his stuff and his dad's inheritance, and he moved to a distant land, and there he what? Wasted all his money on wild living. Now, have you ever gone through a season in your life and you look back and you wish somebody would have stepped in and warned you that you were about to do something dumb, like, hey, don't do it? Anybody ever have an example like this in your life? Yeah, we've all made dumb decisions. Some of you drove your dumb decision to church today. Right? Some of you are like, I'm sitting next to my dumb decision. No, stop. That's too honest on Easter. Save that honesty for non-holiday Sundays. Every single person has some things in your life where you wish you got a warning. Hey, what you're about to do is a big piece of stupid. Don't do it. I remember when I was about 20, I had never had sushi before at 20 years old. How many of you never had sushi? You never had sushi? Wow. That's more than I thought. Okay, I was that way, okay? And I never had sushi. And but when I was 20, I was dating this girl who was hot. Her name was Stacy Chowman, also known as Stacy Tice, also known as my wife today, and the Lord is good, okay? So I was dating her, and she was like, hey, I want to take you and my dad to try sushi for the first time. Now, I'm picky, all right? I'm a picky eater. I normally would have said no to that, but I don't know if you heard, but my wife is smoking hot, so I'd say yes to whatever she said. You want me to drive a Dodge Neon and collect butterflies? I'll do whatever you want me to do. So I decided, yeah, I'll try sushi. And Stacy's dad, I love him to death, but he's more country than John Wayne. And he's got John Wayne posters, this is true, all over his garage, all right? So he is a country guy, and this is an interesting fact. Like, sushi's target market is not necessarily John Wayne enthusiasts. But he agreed, like me, like, okay, we'll let you, have us try sushi. So we went to the sushi restaurant, and Stacy ordered for us because Jay and I, John Wayne and I, we'd never seen eel on the menu at the Outback Steakhouse. Like, we didn't know. So she ordered our food, and it comes, and we grab our forks. And Stacy's like, no, you use sticks. I'm like, okay, you want us to eat the eels with the sticks? Okay, and so we grabbed the sticks. But then, this is the only part I understood what was going on. They brought us this big bowl of green guacamole, and I love Mexican food. I was so excited. And so I grabbed my fork for the guacamole, and Stacy's dad loved guacamole. He's like, oh, I love Spanish food too. I'm like, this place is so great. They got Mexican food at a Japanese restaurant. This is great. We're about to eat the food, and Stacy's like, no, that's not guacamole, that's wasabi. And so Stacy said, no, it's hot. And I was like, well, you're hot, so I'm going to listen to what you say. So I didn't eat it. I heeded her warning. Stacy's dad, this is true. He was like, I love hot stuff. And then he sat there and he was like, he was crying. I mean, it was unreal. And he's like, Stacy, why didn't you warn me? He's like, I did warn you, all right? Like I told you. But we all want some warnings before we do something dumb. Isn't that true? We all want some warnings. And in this story, this would be a perfect place for Jesus to just poof, pop up and say, hey, wild child son, don't do it. You're about to do something dumb. This is the perfect place for that. But we don't see Jesus. But you know what I found that's interesting? Is even if somebody warns us sometimes, we still do it anyway. Have you noticed this? Like sometimes we're just going to do what we are going to do. Isn't that true? That's because we're all a little rebellious. But even still, like this is a perfect place for Jesus to just like poof, pop up and be like, hey, live in La Vida Loca, son. Just chill out. Don't do what you're thinking about doing. But we don't see Jesus. I mean, I'm sure he's in here somewhere. So verse 14, about the time his money ran out. Now, some of you have thought, there's nothing I can relate to in the Bible. There's no verses about the time his money ran out. Anybody ever taken your family to Disney? You can relate to this verse, okay, because your money's going to run out. So his money ran out, and then a great famine swept over the land, and he, the son, he began to starve. And so he persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his fields to what? Feed the pigs. Hold on to that. To feed the pigs. And the young man, he became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. But no one gave him anything. Now, when Jesus told this part of the story, again, the whole crowd went, everybody do that. Here's why. I don't know if you know this, but in Jewish culture, 2,000 years ago, and even to this day, like pigs are considered one of the most unclean things out there. Like you don't eat pigs. If you want some banging barbecue, you should not book a flight to Israel. Scrapple is not flying off the shelves at the Jerusalem Weiss. You know what I'm saying? But this son had burned through all his dad's money, and so he's like, I'll even eat what the pigs are eating. And that is rock bottom. Now, you can't lie because it's Easter and you're in church, all right? So be honest with this. Do you think the son had a lot of fun sinning for at least a little while? Can you say yes or no? Which one? Oh, yeah. I say this all the time. If you don't think sin is fun, you're doing it wrong. Sin is fun for a little while. But sin is like it's like a sneeze. You know, it feels good when it's coming out. But then you got a mess on your hands, you know what I'm saying? You'll remember that one. And we'll put this on the screen. Sin will make you go further than you want to go, stay longer than you want to stay, and pay more than you want to pay. Sin will make you go further than you want to go. It'll make you stay longer than you want to stay. It'll make you pay more than you want to pay. Now, we're real around here, so just give me a little pinky if you've experienced this verse. Come on, give me a little pinky, anybody? And I'm not judging you. Yeah, put the pinkies in the air. Yeah, woo. I'm not judging you. Everybody has done this. But nobody blows up their life on purpose. And so this would be like a perfect place for Jesus to just poof, pop into the story. Like in my imagination, he jumps into the pig pen and Jesus is like, hey, here's a hummus wrap. Don't eat the pig stuff. But where's Jesus? Let's keep going. All right, verse 17. When he, the son, finally came to his senses, because sometimes you got to hit rock bottom before you come to your senses. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, at home, even the hired servants of my dad have what? Food. They have food enough to spare. And here I am, I'm dying of hunger. So I'm going to go home to my father and say, Father, I've sinned against both heaven and you. I'm no longer worthy of being called your son. Please, Dad, just take me on as your hired servant. Now, this is a question, and I'm actually going to give you a prize on this. If you get the answer to this question right, I will give you something from my childhood Easter basket, okay? First person who just shouts this out. The main motivation for the son coming home was what? Hunger. Somebody said food. You said food. Okay. Here's some shorts. Just kidding. You don't need those shorts. All right. There you go. Did you hear what she said? Food. Now, don't miss this. The main motivation for him coming home was the wrong motivation at first. He came home for food. He wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna come home and say, my main motivation is to say, sorry, Dad, I'm going to clean out your garage to prove to you I'm sorry. Sorry, Dad, I'm going to get you an edible arrangement to say sorry. No. He's like, I'm going to go home because I need a hummus wrap or a gyro or a hero or something. It kind of reminds me of my dog Eli. We have a picture of Eli. Some of you haven't seen Eli lately. This is my boy Eli. Some of you thought the Easter Bunny had large ears. This is my dog. Now, Eli, he's wearing a diaper in this picture, and that's because he turned 15 years old on Thursday. In dog years, this guy is over a hundo. He is older than Twitter. And he's doing pretty good health-wise. His main issue health-wise is and this is not a lie, and it's going to be surprising because you look at him, he's like, he can't hear anymore. Y'all laughing at my deaf dog? I'm right here. No, it's true. He can't hear anymore. Now, during the work week, I eat the same exact thing every single day for lunch. I have a salad with grilled chicken on it, all right? Because I'm boring, just in case you don't know. I'm boring. Sometimes on Friday, I go wild. I put strawberries on the salad, but normally it's just chicken on the salad. And my dog, 99% of the day, he sleeps all day long. But there's about 1 minute a day. That boy gets more hyper than your kids are going to be when we release them from Bay Shore Kids today, okay? And that's the moment I get out the chicken from the refrigerator. And he can't hear anything, but his sniffer is on point. And so he'll get out of his bed, and he's old, so he kind of shuffles up to me, comes up to me. And every day I give him 2 pieces of chicken, and he also has asthma, so I didn't tell you that. So he gets an asthma attack because he's so excited. But here's this picture this week, getting his piece of chicken. He's rocking his sweater. It's an old man sweater. Question. What is his motivation for coming and seeing me every day at lunchtime? Food. Chicken. And am I mad at him about that? No, I'm just happy that 973 years old, Methuselah still comes to see me. I love that. And so, listen, I don't know what your motivation was for coming to church today. Maybe somebody promised you food, like, I will take you to Cracker Barrel if you come to church with me. Order the most expensive thing, because you had to sit through this. Maybe a girl invited you. That was your motivation. Maybe you've always wanted to go to a church in a basement. I don't know what your motivation was. But I do know that God can take our wrong motivation and get us to the right place. I do know that one encounter with Jesus can change everything. I mean, think about that video with Mike that we started this service with. Okay, Mike didn't want to come. He came because his family basically made him come. Now he's working here. God can take our our wrong motivation and get us to the right, God can take our wrong motivation and get us to the right place. And so the son in the story, his motivation is food. So he comes up with this apology tour thing. I'm going to say, I'm sorry. Dad, would you forgive me? I'll, serve you. Can I get a hummus wrap? But we still know Jesus. Where's Jesus? Well, all right. So let's look at this next part. So he returned home to his father. And while he was still a long way off, his father, who represents God, saw him coming. Now, some of you got a different religious background. And you're like, oh, the dad who represents God saw his messed up son coming. He's going to get this son. But I'm telling you, the God that I read about in this story, he wants to rescue you way more than he wants to punish you. Because let's read this next part together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. It's a beautiful picture. Now, I started out today, I told you all, you look extra Easter good today. I think Chris Turnbull is in a full 3-piece suit, wherever that man is in the room. And so, you guys look extra Easter good. You know who doesn't look good in this story? The son. The son, he's been living in a literal pig pen. Some of you young kids just say, I can relate. I got small kids. I can relate. But he's stinky. He's dirty. In my mind, he's got a big old piece of pig, clunk to his neck. And the father hugs him. Did the father hug him like that? Now, how many of you are parents in the room? Where are the parents at in the room? Oh, wow. Okay. How many of you got young kids? All right, about 9 o'clock tonight, set your timer. Let's all eat our kids' Easter candy. That's a parent perk right there. And parents with young kids, we've earned some parent perks. I know this because when my daughter was about 6 months old, my favorite thing to do on Sundays after church was to go home, sit on our spot on the couch, and I would watch the Ravens football game and yell at the TV, which is why Nora can basically sleep through anything to this day. But I would yell at the TV while watching football, and I found a picture of us in our spot this week. So this is me and Nora when Nora was 6 months old. And this was our spot. We would sit there every Sunday, watch the football game, and so I want to illustrate what happened one Sunday with this baby doll, okay? Because Nora's not here, and she's not this size anymore, okay? So this is one of Nora's baby dolls. Everybody say, hi, Nora. Hi, Nora. Okay, so one day, we're sitting on the couch Sunday afternoon, and it's so comfortable sitting on the couch with a baby. Oh, my goodness. Like, Nora was comfortable. I was comfortable. Well, Nora's head was a little uncomfortable because it was against my biceps, so that's a little, hard. But besides that, comfortable. And we're sitting there, and I look down at my firstborn daughter, 6-month-old, and she's got this face. And this is our first kid. This is a trial kid. I don't know what this face is. And that was the moment that the world's largest earthquake to ever hit the seismic scale hit my right arm, guys. And it was a blowout like no other blowout. And stuff was shooting out the leg holes, the arm holes, the neck holes. I think it was everywhere. And I looked down afterwards, and Nora's just like, parents, how many of you have experienced a blowout? You know about the blowout. It's going to happen if you don't know about it yet. When that happened, and I'm sitting on the couch, did I go? You're just like your mama. Just kidding. Did I say that? No. Did I say, hey, if you want to be part of this family, you clean yourself up. Maybe you can sit in my lap. Did I say that? No. Okay, me and Stacy, we cleaned her up, and stuff got all over us. You know what I'm saying? And it was messy. And if we're imperfect parents and we think that if we're imperfect parents and we won't disown our kids when they're messy, why on earth do we think that our perfect Heavenly Father will disown us when we're messy? I don't know who needs to hear this. We'll put this on the screen so somebody remembers it. God doesn't say, hey, clean up and then come home. God says, hey, come home, and then I'll clean you up. He doesn't say, hey, clean yourself up, clean that mess up, and then maybe I'll consider you in my family. No, he says, hey, come home, and then I will be the one who cleans you up. And in this story, the son, he's got, pig stuff or whatever all to him, and you got to picture this moment, like the daddy's sitting on the porch, just looking over the horizon line, and the son comes walking over the hill, and the dad jumps up from the porch. He runs to his son. He embraces his son, and all that nastiness was getting all over the father. But God doesn't say, hey, clean up and then come home. He says, come home. Come home and I'll clean you up. And this would be a perfect spot for Jesus to just show up and stand there. I mean, this is a great moment. Like, at least take a picture, of what's happening. Where's Jesus? No. Verse 21. His son said to him, so the dad's embracing the son. The son's dirty. Father, I sinned against both heaven and you, and I'm no longer worthy of being called your son. And the dad's like, that's good. You're forgiven. And then his father said to the servants, hey, quick, bring the finest robe. Bring the finest robe we have and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger, sandals for his feet, and kill the calf we have been fattening. And so the dad's like, hey, we are going to party. Come on, move those shoulders. We are going to party. And he's like, hey, son, come over here. I got some stuff for you. Hey, here's a 600 red thread count robe. Put that on. Okay, hey, you need some bling. Put that on. Here's some more bling. Put all that stuff on. Put that on. Oh, you need some Gucci slippers. Put that on. Oh, you want a tomahawk steak? Well, we don't have a tomahawk steak because we're in a building program. We're trying to save some money. But just tomahawk steak. And the dad says this, we must celebrate. We got to. For this son of mine was dead and is now returned to life. He was lost, but now he's found. And so what happened? The party began. And aren't you thankful we have a God who will hug us when we're messy? We have a God who will do that. We have a God who embraces broke down, beat up, busted people. Whose first reaction to us isn't, hey, clean up and then come home. His first reaction to us is, come home, welcome, let's party. That is a beautiful story. And that's the prodigal son story. Wasn't it a good story? Some of you are like, well, where's Jesus? You didn't see him. We went right by him. Did you not see him? Do you need to see the verse again? Let's show him the verse, Liam. But his father said to the servants, kill the calf. We have been fattening. There's Jesus. Kill the calf, we've been fattening. He's been in this story the whole time. Maybe you've never even known that Jesus and the resurrection story and the Easter story was in the most famous story Jesus ever told. He's right here. He's like, when we lost baby Jesus in their attic, he was there the whole time. Jesus has been in this story the whole time. And I did some research on the fattened calf this week. And in Jewish culture, the fattened calf was the most valuable single piece of livestock the family would have owned. And it was given a special diet for 2 years and put in a special pen for 2 years to make them just perfect for the perfect moment for the family to celebrate. And all week I've been thinking, why in the world would you kill the most innocent, perfect, valuable thing that you had to celebrate a religious or rebellious and lost son had come home? And then I thought, there's Jesus. That's the Easter story. Do you see the Easter story? Because the most innocent, valuable, perfect one in God's kingdom came to earth, went on a cross, was killed on that cross, went in a tomb, and 3 days later, we don't mourn because he came out of that grave alive so that we could run home at any point, and God would say, hey, welcome to the family. You're in. All we have to do is say, hey, God, I'm sorry. And he's like, hey, you're good, my son. You're good, my daughter. Let's throw a party. Which is why at our church, every single person who walks in here, our message to you is welcome home. It doesn't matter if you had a 2-hour quiet time on the beach this morning with the Lord, or if you are not quite sobered up from last night. Our message to you is welcome home. Welcome home, because that's God's message to us. I'll end with this. In the summer, I get up super early and run. I run at about 5:15 in the morning, and some of you are probably like, oh my goodness, you run to stay healthy. No, I run so I can drink Mountain Dew. Because I believe God can take the wrong motivations and get us to the right place, But I actually run in the morning because in the summer early because I try to beat the heat. Have you ever run in the middle of the day in July? It's the worst. Mid-run, I'll be like, help me, Jesus. Help me, Dasani. Help me, Dr. Phil. I need out. So I run super early to avoid all that. And so I remember 2 years ago, I was running, it was in July, and I came around the bend onto our road. It was probably about 5:55 in the morning by the time I was coming home. And I could see my house, and I looked up, and I saw on my porch my daughter standing there. And she wasn't a 6-month-old that you just saw. She was 7 at the point. And she was dressed to the nines. This is weird, she had her Christmas dress on. She had her hair done, and she cheered for me as I ran home. And she did that because she heard me say the night before I was going to be running early in the morning. So she set her alarm. She got dressed when she woke up that morning. She stood on the porch and she cheered for me when she came home. And I took a picture because I was about weeping and sweating at the same time. This is Nora that morning. And I love this picture because I love this moment. And somebody in this room, you need to see this picture. Because it doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter how messy you are. It doesn't matter how far from God you have run. You have a God who's standing on the porch, and he is waiting for you to come home. So when you come home, he can say, hey, welcome home. You're in the family. Here's a robe. Here's a steak. Here's some flip-flops, some whatever. And here's why. We'll read this verse from the story. God says we must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was dead and is now returned to life. He was lost, but now he's found, and so the party began. Aren't you thankful for a God like this? Aren't you thankful for that kind of God? And so this Easter, want to invite you to the party. I want to invite you to the family. And it's not hard. The way that the Bible says that we become part of the family isn't you don't have to come up here. You don't have to jump through 7 hoops. You just got to say, God, I'm sorry. I messed up. I'm a messy person, but I'm coming back to you so that you will be my father and you will clean up my mess. That's all it is. That gets you in the family, and that gets you to the party. And so if you wouldn't mind just bowing your heads, if you want to become a Jesus follower today and you've never become a Jesus follower, you've been running from God, maybe you're messy, maybe you didn't know that it was so easy, maybe you didn't know this story, I don't know. But I know Easter 2023 is the best Sunday in your life to come back to the family. And so if you want to become a Jesus follower, would you just raise your hand? I'm the only one looking around. You just raise your hand. There's hands all over this room of people just accepting this. And God is on the porch, and he's running to you right now, every one of you. And let's just say this out loud together. If you're a Jesus follower or if you just raise your hand, just say this out loud with me. Jesus, I recognize that I'm a sinner. And I'm a mess. But I'm coming home to you so you can clean up my mess. I ask for your forgiveness. I believe you're the Son of God because you walked out of a grave alive. And so today, I'm committing my life to you. In Jesus' name, amen, amen. And there was a party in the story. There should be a party right now to celebrate that right there. There is no better news than that. That is what it's about for us.